Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. Um, it is a different time of the day. Normally I record podcasts, YouTube videos much earlier in the day, but today technically is my day off. Um, but I wanted to come on and do a video around things that you should consider when creating your career goal for the week. So one of the things that I do every week with the micro to macro career accelerator coaching client, my coaching clients, and we did it yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday, today is Monday, is I have them create one action item that they will be working on for the week, right? And the reason I started to implement this as like the last thing that we do in our weekly coaching calls is because I've noticed over the last 5 years, and I'm guilty of this too, that social workers create, even though we are well versed in SMART goals and all of the things, right? But my community of people on this part of the internet, we are super high achieving, right? A lot of y'all are overachievers, but many of you are super high achieving, right? The people in my community are super high achieving. And with that, what I see is the over tendency to create a lot of what's the word I want to use? A lot of career goals that the goal is to get them done all in 1 week, right? And for people in the micro to macro career accelerator, for us, a week is 5 days, right? Because one of the days is for coaching. That's on Sundays when we have our coaching call. And then of course the rest of that day is resting. Um, and then the other second day off should be for resting, living life, being a human. And then even for the 5 days of career development activity, it's just 1 hour a day. That's the system that I've created. We've done multiple time studies on it, and it works for the people, my coaching clients, where they do 1 hour a week. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week towards their career development. So that can be action item steps like I'm going to apply to 3 jobs a week. It could be that I'm going to complete a professional development webinar that I signed up for. It could be that I'm going to work on my resume. It could be that I'm going to practice my interviewing. They create one goal, not two, not five, not 10, not 12, because social workers, and I'm guilty. I'm talking to myself, right? I will create a goal and that goal will have 50 sub steps to it. And it's like, Marthea, how are you going to get that done? That's not humanly possible, right? And so one of the things that I really make the center of any coaching that I do is creating realistic goals for yourself, like being brutally honest about what you can do and what you can't do, so you don't then build up an aversion to the thing. Because the aim is, yes, completing the task, which helps you achieve the goal, but it should be also to create a like natural cadence for yourself to do it every week, right? For a lot of you, career development actions, again, it could be any of like an examples of any of those things that I named earlier: applying to jobs, working on your resume, practice interviewing, career planning, doing any of those types of action items. There's hundreds and hundreds of things that you should be doing in your career on a weekly basis, right? Many of you, because you don't have, this is not natural to you. Many people are shifting from a place of being reactionary in their career. Um, these action items are usually something that you do out of desperation because you're revenge job applying because your supervisor made you mad at work, or because you were like, I cannot take this job anymore. You're like, I'm ready to really stop putting a band-aid on these issues. I'm ready to address the problem, whatever it is. A lot of you all do it out of reaction. However, through a very strategic process, I help my coaching clients move from being reactionary in their career to being proactive. So with that, I have to teach them, again, through a very systemized way, how to make this a weekly routine, right? This is why my coaching clients, they love the fact that we have weekly coaching calls, because they say themselves that this is the first time that I've ever been forced to sit in a place and talk about my career on a weekly basis. And as a result of that, that's why they get so many career wins. And you see them all over the YouTube channel, all over podcasts, all over social media, is because inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, they are sitting in a dedicated time and space each week, every Sunday, talking about their career, rather than just because your supervisor pissed you off today and you're going to look for a job, right? And then once the anger subsides, you're back to not looking for jobs. However, in the micro to macro career accelerator, your career is paramount. It's front and center. You can't forget about it. You can't back burner it, because we're talking about it every Sunday. And then also they say that it's because they're sitting in a room of other people talking about their careers, right? So it's like, I'm going to have something to talk about regarding my career. I'm going to have my action stuff, because I know everybody else is going to be sharing out their win for the week. So with that, I want you to, if you don't already have an action step, or what is your one career goal for the week? If you don't have one created, and it's going to be kind of late on Monday when this goes up, but that's okay. It's here. Okay. You could create a goal laying in your bed tonight. You can create one in the morning going to work. Ideally, how we have I've conducted multiple time studies with my cohorts inside of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator. Monday is for planning. Monday, we're not applying for jobs, practicing, doing any of those things. Monday is the day that we're planning how we're going to spend our 1 hour for the rest of the week, right? So it's timely. I'm not late. I'm on time. Okay. So first, I want you to identify and drop it in the YouTube comments for me, so I can see and give you feedback. And tell you if it's realistic. Maybe you need to go back and edit. Maybe there's something else you need to consider. But I want you to drop in the comments, what is your one career, and I'm taking notes. What is your one career goal for the week? One, not two, not five, not seven, not 10. One goal. And I gave you examples. And so when creating that goal and beginning to execute on that goal by working on it 1 hour for the next 4 days of this week, and you pick up whatever, you do it in whatever like sequence you want to do it. Maybe Monday, maybe what days? Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday works better for you. That's okay. Maybe for someone else, they're like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday works for me. My rule of thumb is your first hour of your work day should be dedicated to your career. Your first hour of your work day. But hey, that may not work for you. But that's just like what I go by. That's what works for a lot of my people. So the 4 things, I started out with 3, but I added a 4th one, right? So the 4 things that you need to consider is, and I'm gonna put them in order because I just wrote them out of order. I actually wanna, yeah, I'm gonna make this one, I'm gonna make these 2, and I'm gonna make these 3, and then I'm gonna make this 4. Okay. So the first thing that you need to consider when creating these goals and beginning to execute on this one goal this week is that you need to put you first. I know that's real cliche. Wasn't that like a meme on Instagram? I gotta put me first, or maybe that's from a movie. I don't know, but I need you to put you first. What I see is that a lot of social workers are back burnering their career development, their career achievement, career planning, insert whatever your word is, because it's not always job searching. If you think of career development as just job searching, that's you being reactionary and that's you having low career intents. You should always be strategizing about how to be maximizing every opportunity presented to you for your main money making generating source. Right. So if your job is your main money generating source, you need to be prioritizing that. If that's how you feed yourself, that's how you take care of your family, that's how you create impact in the world, you need to be prioritizing it. So when I say that, I'm saying put you first, right? I see a lot of social workers putting everybody else and everything else and all of their stuff first before your own. Put you first. So when creating the action item, your creation of that action item for the week, the goal for the week should not be predicated on, oh, but I gotta do this for such and such. Or, oh, I promised I would help such and such. It's not predicated on that. It's predicated on what is it that you need to do to move the needle closer to progress for you to get where you want to be in your career. So put you first. Put you first, because I'm going to say it this way so you could really feel the magnitude of what I'm telling you. Nobody else is thinking about you at the level that you're thinking about them. Nobody, unless it's your spouse. I pray that they're thinking about you like that. But no one else is thinking about you at the level that you're thinking about them. That's a hard truth, right? And usually people don't learn it until it's too late, me included. So put you first. Put you first. I'm going to repeat that again. Put you first. Okay. So when you create the goal based on what you want to do, not based on what other people want you to do for the next 6 days. Okay. So put you first. The second thing that you need to consider or be aware of and make sure that you do is make certain that you're creating a career goal for the week, your action item. Make certain that you are taking in the full consideration of your current capacity. Right? So a lot of you are parents, a lot of you are caregivers, a lot of you are like your main support system for your parents, for your family. A lot of you work multiple jobs, right? Because you got to work to feed yourself. A lot of you work multiple jobs. A lot of you work jobs where you're on call, where you are required to be on emergency call all times of the night. A lot of you have to work on the weekends. So when creating your goal, I want you to be brutally honest with yourself about your capacity to achieve the goal that you're sketching out for yourself for the week, right? So as an example, if your goal is, and I'm going to give a real example. This is an example for me back in the day because I was, what's the word? We know that the digital divide is real. For me, I didn't, depending on the month or depending on the time of the year, I didn't always have internet connectivity because I had to pay my light bill, pay my rent. And so internet is a second thought. That's a luxury, right? So in those situations, when I wanted to do something career related, I knew that my internet went on. It wasn't gonna be on no time soon during the week. What I would do is I would create my career goal based on where I knew I was going to be that week that would have career internet connectivity or Wi-Fi. This is years ago. This is really heavy in when I was working on my Associates of Arts degree. I used to go to campus on the weekends. I remember during the winter months. And specifically, I remember one winter specifically, and I would have to go to campus and park in the parking lot outside of the library and take my laptop with me. I had a Dell back then. It was real big, real clunky. Take my Dell, real heavy rather. Take my Dell with me and sit like in the middle part of the parking lot. I couldn't get too far from the library building because then the connectivity wouldn't be out there. And then I would connect to my community college's Wi-Fi to upload my assignment to Blackboard. Right? So when I say that I had to you need to take in the full capacity of your life for that week. Because there's been a time when my car was repo. Let's say like my car was repo, right? Back in the day, then I knew I wouldn't have been able to go to campus. I wouldn't have been able to drive there because I don't have a support system. No one would have came and picked me up and took me there to do the thing. So what I needed to do then that week is I had to adjust, right? I didn't abandon the goal of uploading an assignment or applying to a job. It then shifted from, okay, so I know that I'm going to get to work. I'm catching a ride with a colleague. Okay, they don't get off to 6. So what that means is I'll go in the back office in some building and have computers or something like that and upload my assignment or apply to a job, right? Or do it during my lunch break, right? Because this is before I had cell phone in, but this is before like was it when like I don't know, it wasn't as like how we use our phones now. This was probably like 8, 9 years ago or something like that, right? So you don't abandon just because your life is full that week or you're having to create these workarounds. You don't abandon the goal that you've created for yourself. And before the first career consideration that I gave you, you create a workaround. You're a social worker. You create workarounds all day long. You need to start doing that in your career life as well, right? Because again, the purpose of doing an action item a week is to make this routine for you, make it second nature. So again, I didn't abandon applying to a job that week or uploading my assignment to Blackboard, even though I knew it was due on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I had to adjust, and instead of waiting until Saturday to start typing the paper, that meant that I needed to start on Monday typing my paper while I was at work, because technically I knew I had until Friday while I was around the internet to upload it to Blackboard. Okay, so take in full consideration of your capacity for the week when planning how you're going to execute this action step. Drop the word capacity in the comments on YouTube if that is clear to you, because I really want you all to carry that with you, because I see a lot of people abandoning their career goals because of the way their life is set up, which is a temporary situation. My internet being disconnected was temporary. Me not having a car was temporary. I wasn't going to forego the long-term permanent like fruits of me getting a job with more pay and I don't have to work multiple jobs because of a temporary situation. You don't abandon that, right? You got to play the long game. Many of you are short-sighted. So that's a conversation for another day. I want you to keep your eye on the prize. In the words of my in the words of my high school best friend, Alfred, keep your eyes on the prize, Marthea. That's what he It's the inside joke, y'all. Y'all knew where that came from. But real talk, keep your eyes on the prize. Okay. So then the third thing is I want you to assign priority levels. Priority levels to all of the competing obligations that you have in the week. Right? Because I know many of you are like, it's no way I could do that. I'm a mom, or I'm a caregiver, I'm a student, you can do it. You can do it. Again, keep your eyes on the prize. What's important? A job where you are in a position that you are aligned in and that you can enjoy on some level, that you're doing work that you really, really want to do. Keep your eyes on the prize. So what I mean by priority levels is, again, you don't abandon all of your other like required obligations. You can't stop being a mama. You can't stop being a dad. You can't stop being a caregiver for your parent, right? You can't stop being a pet parent. Your dog can't go walk itself. Your cat can't like change his own litter. You're still gonna have to do those things, but I want you to assign priority levels to them, right? As high achievers, I know I'm guilty of this, and I see it in other people. Like, if I'm working on a goal, I'm working on it to completion. I will sit at my desk all day long and watch the sun go up and the sun go down. And then at the end of the day, I haven't eaten or drink any water. I'm wondering why my head hurt because it's dry like a prune, right? So with that, you have to assign priority levels. Okay, I'm going to walk my dog at 12. At 3, I'm going to come in and sit at my computer and work on my career development for an hour for my parents. I'm going to take Billy and my baby to soccer, right? Monica, I'm going to take Billy and Monica to soccer on Saturday. So on Saturday, I can't do anything career development related. So that means on Tuesday, I need to make certain that I'm having everything done, that all of my action item fully fleshed out, planned, queued up, ready to go. And I'm working on it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'm going to be done by 5 p.m. on Friday because I'm soccer mom and I gotta go get the snacks and the juices and I gotta go to Costco and get all of the things. You still can make time. Assign priority levels. Actually, what I want you to do is I want you to drop certain words and tell me which one do you know you need to really work on more than the other. So put the word first if you're like, I need to work on putting myself first. Put the word first in the comments. Please help me help you. Help me help you. This helps me understand if what I'm sharing is landing. I love when y'all talk back to me. Okay. So put the word first if you're guilty of needing to put you first. Put the word priority. Well, let me go in order. Put the word capacity if you are guilty of the fact that you are not always like adequately assessing your capacity for the week. Put the word capacity. Put the word priority if you are guilty of not assigning correct priority levels to things, right? Put the word priority. What I was going to say with that, that's why I was looking that way. Like one of my business coaches, she says like all the time about when people are really show up really, really strong in one area of their life, that means every other area of their life is a mess because there's no way you can be all things in all spaces of your life. And it's so true, right? However, I think that you can learn to create a system that works for you, but it has to become second nature, right? I'm not saying be all things to everybody, but I'm saying like if you assign proper priority levels and really take into account your capacity, you can still show up and be a good friend. You can still spend time with and be a good partner. You can still prioritize going to school. You can still prioritize spending time with family. You may have to do it in different increments based on the priority levels. The priority levels may have to change each week, and this is something that I'm working on. Priority levels. Put the word priority in the comments if you're guilty of needing to work on assigning priority levels to your goals for the week. And then the 5th one is I want you, so you've identified your action step, you taking into full account your week, you planned it out, you know when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, you created a realistic one action item goal for yourself the week. And then the next thing is to execute. We planned enough, so we need to execute. So 4 days out of the week should be execution days, 1 hour a day, right? So with the execution, I want you to take in strong consideration executing during your highest energy point of the day. Your highest energy point of the day. So what I mean by that is because you are a social worker and because you are a helper naturally, you are always giving. In a 12-hour day that people are normally out in the world doing human things, right? You are probably giving of yourself, over giving of yourself maybe 90% of the time. So with that, your energy depletes with every human interaction. I know. I remember from case management days. Every appointment, my energy just went lower and lower and lower and lower. That's when I adopted. It was in the case management job because I was doing these things in the jobs before. I've always been like fanatical about jobs and getting jobs because that was the only way that I could feed myself, right? But it was in my case management job that I had to get real strategic and find a time that would that allowed me to really put my best work, my best foot, my best level of energy towards the thing. And so for me, that's when I adopted the practice. And this is what I teach my coaching clients. Your first working hour of the day should be towards your career development if you're working a traditional 9 to 5. If you're not working, let's say you're a full-time student, then it needs to be, or if you don't have the capacity to do it while you're at work, right? It needs to then be, and when I say career development, you could be watching a webinar at work that supports your long-term career goals, but also satisfies your CEUs or required training hours for the year. I worked at a DV shelter and we had to do like 20 hours of training hours a year, a quarter, I think. A year. And we were responsible for developing our own training plans. So what that would look like is I would spend 1 hour a day, like certain points in the year to knock them all off out. It was usually like a quarter a year or something like that. I forget what my system was, but I would spend 1 hour a day working on something that would look like me watching a webinar, me watching a movie, and then you had to write up a synopsis of the thing. It had to be related to DVSV situations, power and control dynamics. The webinars, however, could be related to anything that's help me better advocate for my participants. So for me, being that I know my macro goal at that time was to do workforce development work for youth and young adults, and I was hired in this job because I served as a liaison with them from the agency that I came from because I was helping their people get jobs and teaching them job readiness skills. I made my webinars and workshops relevant to workforce development because it applied to me in that role as a transitional program coordinator. However, it was strategically positioning me to help me build my expertise to get my macro job that I got less than a year or so later after getting in that position. So I say that to say that for me, my highest energy point of the day was always the first hour of the workday. As soon as I got in it, I could make my own schedule in the job. So, but let's say 8 or 9. As soon as I got in at 9 a.m., I didn't check any emails. I didn't listen to any voicemails. I didn't do any of the things because my energy was high. I was fresh. I was bushy tailed and I was ready to engage. And so I would do my action item and get it out the way rather than see 15 people, which my caseload was never that high in that DV job. But as a workforce development career counselor, aka case manager, my caseload was 120 plus. So I was seeing 10 people on average a day, depending on what part of the month we were in. I would never wait until the 4 p.m. hour after I saw 10 people and had to go back and forth about timesheets and why you missed your appointment and giving people sanctions, which I hated doing. So I never really did it. Right? I always came up with some resolution and my people were really good. But either way, after all of that mentally draining, and then if heaven forbid, if your job is physically taxing and you're walking around the hospital, you've been walking around 50 times to see the patients, or you're out in the field doing home visits, you are not going to want to sit down and talk about anything related to career because you're not going to have the brain power to do it, nor will you have the physical fortitude to do it. So the thing you should be considering is executing during your highest energy point of the day. So for me, when not in a 9 to 5, my highest energy point of the day is the 11 a.m. hour. That's when I'm the sharpest. That's when I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna be firing on all cylinders. My energy is gonna be abounding the 11 a.m. hour. However, I have coaching clients in the micro to macro career accelerator who say, I work really well late at night. Do it. Let's do it. I have another coaching client. She's like, based on her capacity and the priority levels in her life, because she was a child welfare supervisor before getting her macro job in DC. She said that she would do her job searching Friday nights, because that's the only time she had available between her child welfare job and her second job as a clinician. Now that she's in her macro job, she has more time freedom. So now it looks like during the day or when she's off, because I think she works 4 days a week. They work 4-day work weeks or things like that. And she has a lot of time off that she has to use. So she has a lot more flexibility to do it during some like daylight hours or have a whole day to dedicate to the thing. But you have to find out whatever works for you. I have someone else who's like, I work really well in the early morning hours, like at 5 a.m. before my family is up, before my baby and my partner is up for the day. I was like, that's a great time. Do it before the house starts waking up. So let's go over these again. So if you're guilty of not doing things at the highest energy point of the day, I want you to put the word energy. I don't know if I told you a different word. I want you to put the word energy in the comments. So the 5 things that I want you, what's 4 of them? Sorry. The 4 things that I want you to consider is putting you first when creating the action step. The second one is your capacity for the week. The third one is assigning appropriate priority levels. And then the fourth one is executing during your highest energy point of the day. Treat you right. That's all about putting you first. Don't go save the world and go put out burning buildings and save 2 babies and get 5 cats out the tree and then like, oh, now I'm gonna go home and and take care of me. You're not gonna have the fortitude to do it. You're just gonna want to zone out, scroll, watch TV, watch online, whatever, go on TikTok and watch the people dance and whatever makes you happy, because it doesn't require brain power. Put you first. So that's the action planning for this week. Make certain that you're creating an action goal for yourself. Let's be strategic. Let's shift from having low career intent to having high career intent. Also, I want to make an announcement that on Sunday, October 29th, that's this Sunday coming up, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, I am having my monthly free career planning webinar. It's where we did it last month. I did it. I planned it. I planned it and told the people the day of. I was like, because it was a holiday. I don't know what holiday it was, but it was a holiday, and I'm like, y'all off. let's plan what our 3 career goals are going to be for the month. Right. And so I sent out an email of almost 15 people came. I literally sent it hours before the webinar and they came. So I said, I'm going to do it every month unless something changed. But I'm going to do it every month. And we're going to do it this month on October 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It ain't going to be no replay. It takes too much technology to send replays. So this is your opportunity to come for free. Come learn my 30-day action planning system. This is me teaching you how to career plan. This is me teaching you how to shift from having low career intent to high career intent. There won't be a replay. It takes too much for me to send it. It's either you come or you come. And this is the true test. What's important to you? Are you going to put you first? Or are you going to put everybody else and all of their things first? Put you first. Have the kids to lay out their clothes and do all the ironing, pack all the lunches, do all of that by 5 p.m. So when 6 p.m. come, cook the Sunday dinner early. So when 6 p.m. comes, everybody in their respective corners doing what they do, reading books on the tablets, packing backpacks, whatever they can realistically do themselves, and you are on your computer planning your goals for the month. And I'm going to take you through my proven system. It's a system that has helped dozens of people get jobs in 30 days or less. It works. I don't give fluff. So if you want to come to the free monthly career planning session, let's call it a session. Oh, I wrote that down. It's the free monthly career planning session. I've been calling it a webinar workshop, but it ain't that. It's a session. It's a working session, but I'm going to be guiding you through the process. I'm also thinking about picking up and doing part 2. When I did it last month, I shared 10 of the biggest mistakes that I see people making, social workers making when attempting to get macro jobs. And I told them that I hadn't even begun to touch the surface on the 10. I think I'm going to go ahead and do part 2 to that conversation. So how I did it last month was the first half was like a webinar, me sharing the 10 and really giving people an understanding of what they should be doing to avoid these mistakes. And then the second half is when we begin action planning. Let's call it a webinar and career action planning session. That's what it is. that's the name we're gonna go with. So I told people the micro to macro career planning career accelerator. I was like, I am not good with coming up with these fantastical names. I'm not creative like that. I'm not artsy. That ain't me. I'm just gonna say what it is. So we're gonna call it a career action planning section and a webinar. So if you want to come, it's free. It don't cost you nothing, but it's worth everything. If you want to come, visit macroandpaid.com, click the first link on my link tree, and it says sign up. I'm gonna give you verbatim what it says. Let's give you a path. So you can click down either below this video or in the description of this podcast episode and visit macroandpaid.com. From there, or you can type it in manually in your web browser, and then from there you'll be on my link tree page, and the very first link is in white. It says click here to join my weekly career newsletter. It takes you less than 1 second, well, 5 seconds. You just need to leave me your first name and your email address, send it to me, and then check your email to make certain that you confirm that you gave me your email address and I didn't come force your email, come take your email address from you. Because if you don't accept and verify that you give me permission to email you, you won't get my emails. So again, go to macroandpaid.com. You can either click the link here, put it in your web browser. Can you tell I used to work in a call center? I know how to give I know how to give navigation paths. So you're going to go to macroandpaid.com. You can either click the link down in the description box or type it in manually in your web browser. It's then going to take you to another page, which is my website. And the very first link in white, it reads, click here to join my weekly career newsletter. Click that. And then you're going to enter your first name. You're going to enter your email address. And then you're going to click the send it to me button. And then you're going to go to your email and verify, confirm that you requested to be added to my newsletter. Make certain that you check your spam, your junk, your promotions folders, because sometimes it may go there. And it should be from either the MSW Coach Education Company or my name, Marthea Pitts. Okay. My Lyft drivers, they always, every now and again, I get some that are like, you are really good with directions. in the where I am box, I give very explicit, clear directions where I am. And then even when we're in the car and I'm telling them how to navigate out of my subdivision to like make it less hassle for them, they're always like, you are really good at giving directions. And I'm always like, that's from the years of working in a call center. Before call centers are what they are now, I had to get really good at giving directions. So do that. Join the newsletter. All right. I'll talk to you later. Happy macro career planning. Bye.